Hello there, it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. Now today we're going to make a snip tray. Now for those people that do cross stitch, it's basically just a little tray that you can put on the arm of your sofa, and all those loose ends we can just put in the tray and then they're all tidy. Yeah, but it's just a handy thing to have, and I suppose handy for anyone doing any type of needlecraft, because you could always put needles and pins in there. Alright, so very simple, very simple, but if you wanted one, yeah, if you need it, you'll find you need it. Okay, what I have here, scrap it, A4 paper, fold it into A5, fold it into A6. And I'm going to use that as I don't know, a pattern? Yeah, let's use that as a pattern. So, and it can be any size, but yeah, little is neat, and always remember that small is fiddly to sew. So, you know, don't go to too much pains. Alrighty. So I've now cut out my bit of fabric that I've decided to use, and I'm going to sew it together, leaving one of the short sides open to turn it inside out. Now I have given myself 1/4 of an inch, I suppose, hem allowance. Doesn't really matter as long as it's straight. Okay, and I'm just going to sew halfway down this short side. Not a problem, is it? We're not doing anything complicated here. I'm going to turn it inside out in my own time. And what I need to do is I really need to push those corners so that they're nice and sharp. It's just going to make this next stage so much easier. I've got a knitting needle here and I'm using the blunt end, and I'm just nagging at them so that I've got it as easy to sew as possible. So that's all 3 corners done, and I can also do that by just rolling them in between my thumb and my forefinger just to push those seams out. Okay, now a lot of times when you're watching these videos they'll say this is a good time to iron those seams. So we've pushed it out as far as we can. We did all the corners with the needle down, so we got the corners as sharp as possible. But when we say iron those seams, you know, all we're saying is iron it as flat as possible so that all this is pulled out. Okay, I now need to take my fabric with my hole in, and I need to make sure that I get this corner perfect. Now it might be a case of bit more, bit less, you know. If you get it right first time, then don't worry, but if you have to take 2 or 3 goes, then that's fine too. Okay, now I think we should have the grey on the inside. Yeah, okay, the hardest part of this make, is to choose what colour, what of these 2 fabrics you would like as the inside and outside. I know that's the hardest bit, I really think. I really have to give my poor machine some oil. Okay, so I'm top stitching around all of the outside. I've sewn up my hole, and I've sewn up my hole in the continuous top stitch loop. Every corner I've done as sharp as possible by leaving the needle down and then continue sewing. Okay, that's done. So there we are. I'm I'm going to take a second and I'm going to trim it now, just so that it doesn't get too fiddly. This one here is sharp corners, really. So I've taken my square and I've folded it down like this, and then I've literally placed it in the sewing machine, and I've marked a point on my sewing machine, and I've lined it up square with the base plate, and then I've sewn down so that I've got my nice square corners. Now if I want to do it at an angle, that's also fine. I'm going to take a post-it note. I'm such a cheater. I'm going to line up the first one, okay? And that's the angle I'm going to do, so I'm going to be a bit more splayed out on this one. I have my post-it note, which I'm going to leave in my sewing machine. I've still gone for the 45-degree fold on the corner of 90 degrees. I'm going to do a couple of stitches and I'm going to make sure they're secure. I'm going to take my fabric and I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to do my 45-degree fold again. I'm going to place it under the sewing machine so I can line it up with this line of my post-it note, and or you can see that I haven't done it that much, and I'm going to make sure my point is on the nick of the post-it note and this flat side is on this. Put it under, reverse stitch, happy machine, sew to the end. And I'm going to do that on all four corners. Now it is preference, isn't it? If you were having a few of these trays for whatever reason, then they would stack neater if they had these mitered corners, these different angles. They'll look more like a tray, but then they won't do that foldy flat thing that is this sort of stage mark. Yeah, it's what's written, isn't it? Okay, now I guess I paused the machine. Hi, so welcome back. I've rethreaded my machine and I've just done those other corners. So now you can see that because we've done those little angles at a jaunt, it does sit very nicely, but it doesn't do that very nice fold thing. So it's really flat. It's really flat. Okay, so if you want to do one like this, then that's great. You just have to sort of measure it, and when you fold it, just keep an eye that it's kind of the right size. And then when you sew it, you can use your post-it note just to mark it nice and straight and at the right height of the angle, so you know how much to sew. Alright, thank you ever so much for watching, and like, share and subscribe. Thank you.